Lin Yehun, who is watching anime at home, wears Sasuke and enters the world of Hokage. At the beginning, she fiercely beats the bullying trio and replaces Naruto as the white moonlight of Hinata. Awakening on the night of the extermination, Gouyu wrote the wheel eyes, and he decided to use these eyes to change the many regrets in the fire shadow. If you don't chop it again, don't you say you will one day return to the village and change everything that's cruel? Lee, if your dream is to prove that you can become an excellent ninja even without ninjutsu and illusion, now you have achieved it. Orochimaru, I will leave Kiba with you, but not as a container for your reincarnation, but with the hands pushing the windmill. Itachi, even if I don't have the same eyes as you, I will become stronger than everyone else. P.S. This article has a lot of groundwork in the early stages, starting from chapter 10 to enter the main plot. Chapter 1. Traversing and picking up Miss Hinata. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Forgive me, Sasuke, this is the last time. I saw Itachi dragging his broken body and stumbling towards Sasuke, using his bloody fingers to lightly touch his forehead and weakly utter these words. The next second, his fingers slid down his face, leaving a terrifying blood-red mark, and Itachi fell heavily to the ground. Pain. It hurts too much. As a 20-year-old fan of Hokage, I don't know how many times Lin Yi has revisited this scene, but every time I recall it, my heart still hurts faintly, just like youth always comes with regrets. Lin Yi closed her eyes and wiped away the tears from the corners of her eyes, but when she opened them again, she found herself in a strange dense forest. He instinctively extended his hands, only to see a pair of slightly immature little hands. Is this me? Lin Yi was a bit confused about the situation for a moment. At this moment, several children's voices came from the nearby bushes. Hey, apologize quickly. Apologize well. Say sorry quickly. Lin Yi pushed aside the grass and saw three little boys surrounded a little girl with an imposing posture. Yes. I'm sorry, the little girl knelt on the ground and timidly said. The voice is too low. It's hard to hear clearly like this. One of the guys grabbed her hair and kept pressing it down. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The little girl kowtowed as he floated, repeatedly apologizing. Tears streamed down her cheeks, wetting the ground. The laughter of the three people quickly flooded around, appearing particularly harsh on this empty space. Hey, stop it. Lin Yi instinctively walked out. Don't you feel ashamed that so many of you are bullying a little girl? In reality, Lin Yi is already 20.8 years old. As an elderly and passionate young man, he couldn't help but preach in an adult's manner at this moment. Ha! Who are you? You. The guy who looked like the leader slowly turned his head and looked at Lin Yi. Hey, that guy seems to be. The slightly chubby boy next to him tugged at his sleeve, as if thinking of something. Cut, no matter who he is, the leader impatiently broke free. Meddlesome guy, but he will suffer. From Lin Ye's perspective, the tallest one among them was even half a head taller than himself, but he had no intention of retreating and walked straight over. Don't blame me for not reminding you. After speaking, the leader swung his fist and threw it at Lin Ye's face door, while the latter only slightly turned his head and easily dodged. Upon seeing this, the other two also rushed forward and attacked Lin Yi. So I hate little ghosts. Lin Yi punched back, and the leading little ghost was forced to change his teeth in advance and fell to the ground. Then came another wave of rain and dew, all three little brats lying on the ground, sobbing and lamenting. Lin Yi had no sense of guilt in his heart when he started teaching these bear kids a lesson. Miss Hinata. A hurried footsteps came from afar, and a butler-like adult appeared in everyone's sight. Oh no, hurry up. The three guys saw the situation and crawled into the forest. Miss Hinata, you're not injured, are you? The person raised the little girl with concern, and after checking, it was found that there was no major problem before taking a long sigh of relief. Lin Yi noticed that the incoming person's pupils turned white and the veins around their eyes were bulging. It was probably through the ability of their white eyes that they found this place. This guy is a little ghost from the Uchiha family. The person quickly fixed their gaze on the fan-like emblem on Lin Ye's clothes. Miss Hinata, let's go back. With that, they picked up the little girl and were about to leave. Wait, he saved me. The little girl turned to look at Lin Yi, who had the same white pupils as the butler. Don't easily get involved with the people of the Uchiha family, the butler's attitude was resolute. Why? Why? Hinata asked in confusion. There's no reason. The butler didn't explain and forcibly pulled her away. The figures of the two gradually drifted away, and Hinata still kept looking back from time to time until they completely disappeared at the end of the forest. Lin Ye's thoughts were a bit confused for a moment. Is this the embryonic field of childhood? Have I traveled to the world of Hokage? Or time travel while watching anime? This is too hasty, isn't it? If I remember correctly, Hinata was bullied by 3 bear kids before going to ninja school. At the time of the incident, Hinata was about 5 years old. The kidnapping of Hinata occurred at the age of 3, which means that the day difference who took the blame has been dead for at least 2 years. This is the conclusion he can infer at the first time based on existing intelligence. So, who am I? Unexpectedly, just thinking about this problem, a headache surged like a tide, and then Lin Yi fell uncontrollably to the ground, rolling in pain. Ah! Sasuke-jun. Sasuke. Lin Yi suddenly regained consciousness from the surging memories and stood up uncontrollably, his chest still heaving violently, and his heart pounding incessantly. He looked around with a bewildered expression, and the eyes of the children around him seemed to be all focused on him, looking at him with confusion. He only then realized that he was in the classroom of the ninja school, and the teacher Irika on the podium was teaching something diligently. Ah ha, did you have a nightmare? It seems that good students like Sasuke occasionally take a nap. Irika still wore a gentle smile on his face. Alright, since you've all stood up, let's come up and demonstrate the clone technique I just explained to everyone. Yes. Lin Yi lowered her head and walked towards the podium. What he didn't notice was a pair of pure and clear eyes in the class, staring at his back. Sasuke. Is he okay? At the next moment, Lin Yi had already stood on the podium, and his hands instinctively quickly formed the 3 seals of Wei, Si, and Yin. As the last seal was completed, a burst of smoke exploded in front of everyone. By the time the smoke cleared, there were 2 more like him on the platform, which attracted a cry of surprise from the audience. He truly deserves to be the younger brother of that genius Uchiha. He can even complete a perfect clone by wandering around, and he can still split 2 at once. Irika generously praised him, but next time I still need to listen carefully. Sorry. Lin Yi angrily returned to his seat and looked at the somewhat handsome face reflected in the window. He finally remembered everything. 2 years ago, as Itachi in the plot slightly raised Sasuke's forehead, Lin Yi, who was watching the fire shadow at home, wandered through and became Sasuke. However, Sasuke's original body seemed to be very resistant to Lin Yi. He first gained control of his body 2 years ago. Due to a struggle of consciousness, Sasuke, who was on the verge of splitting his head, ran into the woods and prompted Lin Yi to replace Naruto to save Hinata, becoming her white moonlight for the past 2 years. Their souls have been constantly changing, but most of them are led by Sasuke. Lin Ye's appearance is only instantaneous and it is difficult to achieve anything. Moreover, every time he experiences a memory gap, it takes him some time to remember who he is. But now it's different, he has completely taken over the dominance of this body. It really took a lot of effort. But since they have all traveled through time, can other female ninjas such as Mao Yuxiyan, Zhao Meiming, Xiao Nan, Sammy, and so on also well, Inoue also calculated that it would look better in the later stage, if red beans were to pay attention to their diet, they probably wouldn't lose their shape so quickly. Even the towering big barrel of wood at night is not impossible. As for Sakura, let's leave it for Naruto. Ahem, soon Lin Yi put aside these messy thoughts because he realized a more serious problem. Now the time has advanced to July 58, the night of Uchiha's extermination. This work adopts the latest setting from the Book of Arrays, with a total history of 68 years for Kiba, rather than the approximately 60 years in the Book of Linji. Please refer to Duan Ping for details. According to the memories after merging with the original Sasuke, the gatherings of the Uchiha clan have become increasingly frequent during this period, and the atmosphere in the family has become increasingly strange, as if everyone is eager to stir up. Although the death of Jishui 2 years ago delayed the occurrence of the coup, what should have come will come sooner or later. He had a premonition that the night of extermination would be tonight. At this point, it is almost impossible to prevent the Uchiha clan from being exterminated. Due to the competition for consciousness, this body is not much stronger than in the original work, and it is even possible that the practice time has been reduced due to frequent headaches. He also does not believe that relying solely on his 7-year-old child's mouth evasion can change either a Fuyue, Itachi, or Tuanzang. Although Fuyue is the chieftain of the Uchiha clan, the chieftain is not only a tool that reflects the interests of the majority, but also cannot fundamentally prevent a coup without addressing the majority of rebellious members. Itachi must have reached a secret deal with the masked man at this moment, willing to join him in carrying out the extermination plan for the sake of the village and his foolish brother. It is even more impossible to attempt a peaceful resolution to the coup. The previous Jishui who had this idea had already been taken away by the old dog in Tuanzang, and was forced to jump into the Nanha River and commit suicide. Lin Yi suddenly broke out in a cold sweat, and he was well aware that the biggest challenge at the moment was how to get through the current crisis. Damn it, where's the promised golden finger? Chapter 2. The Night of Extinction. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding-ling-ling. The bell rang for the end of school. Dad said I can't wait for barbecue today. A chubby little man rushed out of the classroom, his eyes burning with a desire for meat. Hey, Dingzi, wait for me. A little ghost with a towering ponytail followed him closely. And the other guy with short golden hair and 3 whiskers on each side of his face, is carrying his hands behind his head and following slowly at the back. The other students also packed their things and left the classroom one after another. Soon, only Lin Yi and Hinata were left in the classroom. As a loyal fan of Hokage for 20 years, Lin Yi can no longer understand the trajectory of this world, and all the important nodes of events are imprinted in his mind. At this moment, every strand of his hair stood on end, and his body seemed to instinctively resist danger. He was not worried about his own death, because Uchiha Sasuke was already the only survivor after the extermination incident, and he had to plan for a longer-term future, leaving him with very limited time to think. Sasuke Jun. Hinata lowered his head, his index fingers touching each other, occasionally turning his head to sneak a glance at Lin Yi. When he saw the other person notice, he immediately turned back. Lin Yi packed his backpack, suddenly stood up, and walked to Hinata. That. Sasuke, you. Hinata blushed, and after a while, you couldn't hold back what was going on. I'm fine, don't worry, you should go back early too. Lin Yi squeezed out a faint smile and then took a step ahead. At Lin Ye's words, Hinata's face turned even redder and she could only bury her head lower. Normally, he would be very interested in teasing Miss Hinata, but let's forget about today. At the moment of stepping out of the classroom door, Lin Ye's smile suddenly solidified. After much thought, he decided to follow the original storyline and practice his swordsmanship on a last-minute whim until evening before returning. Going home early may lead to unexpected accidents, and not only can one not go home, but the entire Uchiha tribe must also stay away. Because he is too weak now. Arriving at the frequently visited training ground in the forest, Lin Yi closed her eyes tightly and adjusted her breathing. The next second, he leaped high and flipped in the air, holding 4 bitter nothings in each hand. As he released his hands, these 8 bitter nothings collided in mid-air and ultimately bounced towards the 8 targets distributed around the field. Lin Yi landed steadily, hitting the bull's eye with every effort. Sasuke Jun has been working so hard all along. Hinata, who was peeking behind a tree, touched his index finger. I will work even harder. Lin Yi had already noticed Hinata in the dark, but she didn't expose it until she left. The clanging sound of swords in Lin Ye's hands continued until the evening. Lin Yi realized that it was almost time and got up to return. After all, it's not a disaster, it's a disaster that cannot be avoided. It's night, the moon is clear and the stars are sparse. The faint moonlight shines through the branches and falls on the streets. The mottled tree shadows are like countless hands, open and stretched. It is indeed very suitable for killing. When Lin Yi arrived at the Yuzhibo tribe's land, the once bustling streets were now surprisingly quiet, with a strong smell of blood rushing towards him. Looking around, there were bloodstains and corpses everywhere. Lin Yi could only pretend to be extremely anxious and rushed desperately towards his own home. After shouting loudly without success, he opened his parents' door with a feeling of unease and indeed saw the body lying in a pool of blood. Wearing dark clothing, Itachi appeared eerily from the shadows, with blood-red eyes revealing windmill-like pupils. Subsequently, Itachi performed the illusion of moon reading, using the kaleidoscope Sharingan technique to Sasuke, repeating the entire process of how he slaughtered the Uchiha clan in Lin Ye's mind like a horse lantern. Unlike what was imagined, in the moment Itachi swung his knife towards Fuyue and Mei-chin, their faces suddenly changed to look like Lin Ye's parents in the real world, and then the two faces kept alternating. Changing memories flashed through his mind one after another, with Sasuke and the real world, making it difficult for him to distinguish which side was the real world. Unable to bear it, Lin Yi finally collapsed to the ground, drooling involuntarily down his chin. After an unknown amount of time, his consciousness finally became clear, and Itachi remained in the room. Why? Brother, why are you doing this? Just to test my abilities. Lin Yi slowly stood up, his eyes already turning red, and a hooked jade swirled in his eyes. Just for this kind of thing. He went crazy and rushed towards Itachi, but was subdued by the latter casually and knocked to the ground. Looking at Sasuke lying on the ground almost unconscious, Itachi said in a cold voice. Stupid little brother. If you want to kill me, hate me, and live an ugly life. Continuously running away. Let's live a miserable life. And one day, when you have the same eyes as me, come find me. After speaking, the weasel disappeared into the shadow. Next, he will report to the third Hokage to indicate that he will join Shao, and the third Hokage will also list him on the S.level wanted list. Then, he went to find Tuanzang and used village intelligence as a pretext to blackmail him, telling him not to take action against Sasuke. My foolish Oni sauce, why do you have to do this for the village? After Itachi left, Sasuke, who was already unconscious, sat up and saw Dan Gouyu slowly turning in his eyes. In an instant, another Gouyu appeared. This was not over yet, and after a while of deliberation, the number of hooked jade in his eyes finally froze at 3. Lin Yi has opened the 3 Gouyu writing will I. The good news is that he was worried about not having enough emotional attachment to his parents in this world due to soul piercing, and the inability to awaken the Sharingan did not happen. The bad news is, for some reason, Itachi's monthly reading reminded him of his parents in reality, and he suffered double the pain in the illusion. He can now clearly feel the pain coming from his own heart, and even hear the sound of his heart beating. His heart is about to break. Perhaps this is why he was able to activate Sangouyu. But now is not the time to stop. Lin Yi forced herself to endure discomfort and stood up, walking towards her parents in the pool of blood. Influenced by Sasuke's original memory, Lin Yi thought of the scene where Mei-chin carefully bandaged her wound, the scene where Fuyue finally admitted to being truly my son, and the scene where Itachi taught her swordsmanship. The night was like a curtain, and under the moonlight, his hands slowly extended towards Fuyue's eye sockets. I want to live a good life in this world as a Sasuke for the second week. Puzzle. Chapter 3. The Flower Language of Persian Chrysanthemum. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Puzzle. Lin Yi took out the pre-prepared glass jar from his backpack and soaked the eyes of Fuyue and Mei-chin inside. Yuzhibo Mei-chin, as a rare upper ninja in Kiba village, of course, also opens up the 3 Gouyu. It's not bad to have an extra pair of spare eyes at this time. History will be completely rewritten at this moment. However, all of this is not over yet. Lin Yi, who has read the script, knows that the number of writing wheel eyes lost that night is enough to store a wall with soil, and even the remaining scraps can allow Tuanzang to DIY a writing wheel eye arm, but it is unclear how they are specifically allocated. They may have had some dirty transactions here. If a strong person like Fuyue loses his Sharingan for no reason, Tuanzang will definitely investigate to the end, so the best way is to make it impossible for him to investigate. Lin Yi covered his chest with one hand and supported the wall with the other, slowly moving downstairs. His hands began to imprint and condense chakra inside his body, but this time the speed of the imprint noticeably slowed down because his hands were still trembling. Then he took a sudden breath. Fire escape. The art of Huoying. The raging fire quickly ignited, devouring the entire attic. Watching the bodies of his parents turn into ashes in the flames, Lin Yi couldn't help but feel a bit more desolate in his heart. But all of this is necessary. The Uchiha clan is already very skilled in fire evasion, and Tuanzang cannot be certain who set the fire. Even if they suspect it, they will only suspect Itachi. Next, Lin Yi found an absolutely safe place and hid the glass jar. Then, on a quiet and deserted street corner, he gave himself a hand knife and passed out. With his current strength, he is not yet able to handle the Sharingan very well, let alone transplant his father's kaleidoscope Sharingan. Forcibly transplanting it may lead to a sudden death on the spot. Moreover, knowing the truth, he certainly does not intend to seek revenge against Itachi, which means that he cannot obtain the eternal kaleidoscope Sharingan with Itachi. Therefore, the best approach is to wait until he opens the kaleidoscope before transplanting. As for how to open his eyes, without killing the weasel, he hasn't thought of so much yet. After Lin Yi finished everything, Sandai and Tuanzang finally led a group of secret forces including Kakashi to arrive slowly. Under Sandai's command, the secret forces dispersed and began searching for survivors and gathering their bodies. After sending away their subordinates, these 2 old brothers can speak openly. Tuanzang, I can no longer turn a blind eye to your autocratic behavior. The gaze of the 3rd generation gradually became sharper. But, Ri-Zhan. Tuanzang wanted to explain something, but Sandai did not give him this opportunity. From now on, I will dismiss you from the position of Fire Shadow Assistant and disband your subordinates route. I will soon announce the official punishment for you, and I will sentence you to imprisonment before that. The tone of the 3rd generation was mixed with anger and regret. Although he had already agreed to the plan of stopping water and using other gods to control Fuyue, he was still preempted by Tuanzang, ultimately leading to a tragedy. And such punishment is not painful or itchy for Tuanzang. How could he, who has been in the center of power for a long time, give up easily? He simply led the root organization to hibernate, waiting for the next opportunity. As for whether the extermination of the clan was tacitly approved by 3 generations, it is unknown whether Lin Yi. Anyway, one of them is face and the other is inner. Mai's face and inner are both present, and peace is also preserved, but Yuzhibo is gone after this incident. The 3rd generation arranged a relatively small residence for Sasuke and provided him with a certain monthly living allowance. Next, he and Naruto lived the same lifestyle. Without a father or mother, without restraint, whether in school or walking on the street, one often hears people discussing behind their backs. He is the only remaining little ghost in the Uchiha clan. Yeah, I heard that the whole clan was killed that night. It was really tragic. Over time, I became accustomed to it. He is accustomed to others chewing on his tongue behind his back, and also accustomed to being called Sasuke by others. Another day after school, Sasuke saw a group of 3 people strolling around the commercial street. It must be said that these 3 guys were quite cute when they were young. Speaking of which, when they were in school, they often formed groups to commit crimes. During class, they either slept or ate snacks and threw paper balls, and were often taken to the hallway by teacher Irika to punish them. Sasuke sat at the top of the water tower, looking down at them with interest, his figure somewhat lonely against the colorful lights below. Quickly, the 3 bored individuals discovered Irika, who was flirting with his younger sister. Encouraged by Lumaru, Naruto released the seduction technique. Irika's blood spurted and he collapsed, causing the girls to scatter and flee. Alas, poor Irika, the highlights of life have been ruined like this, and since then, she has been single for 700 episodes. Neons flickered on the streets, and figures gathered. The little villains quickly disappeared into the crowd with laughter. Sasuke smiled knowingly, and indeed, when Naruto was a child, only Lumaru and Dingji were willing to play with him. Due to the silent command issued by the 3rd generation, at that time, Lumaru did not know Naruto's true identity. However, with independent thinking ability, he once asked his father, "What do you think of the villagers and why do they dislike Naruto?" The answer given by Lu Jiu was, "Don't believe what others say, just follow your own heart." On the other hand, as an elite ninja, Chimu Shuamao did not look down on the Mat Dai father and son of Wanyan Nishin during his lifetime. Instead, he told Kakashi, "Kai may one day surpass you." They are all excellent fathers, so they have educated excellent children. At this moment, a girl holding flowers appeared directly below Sasuke, searching everywhere for something. No need to think, it must be Inoue. Sasuke, whose mind was occupied by hatred in the original work, naturally showed no interest in anything beyond enhancing his strength, but now Sasuke is wearing Lin Yi under his skin. "Are you looking for me?" Sasuke leapt down and appeared behind Inoue. Upon seeing Sasuke, Inoue's furrowed brow immediately relaxed. "That, as your birthday gift, please make sure to accept it." Inoue silently handed the large Persian chrysanthemum in his hand, symbolizing the girl's sincerity, to Sasuke. Sasuke was taken aback. "I see, today is July 23rd. Lin Yi, like Sasuke, is a Leo, but his birthday falls in August." He had never noticed such a problem before, so it seems that in the future, he needs to do a full set of acting. "It was stolen from your flower shop again, right? I'll accept it as a birthday gift this time, and I won't do it again in the future." Sasuke thought for a moment, but still took the flower. He didn't want to see tears streaming from Inoue's eyes after his confession was rejected. Perhaps it was because Sasuke had accepted her flower for the first time, and Ino nodded with a long-lost smile on his face. After parting ways with Ino, Lin Yi came alone to the My Cake shop and spent a huge sum of money to buy himself a big cake. If it were Sasuke himself, he would definitely not have done this, because that guy hates sweets the most. Of course, a large part of the reason is out of hatred towards his brother. Sasuke returned to his residence, placed the cake on a low table, and sat cross-legged. "I'm moving." He didn't make a wish, but simply indulged in it. His wish is to live in this world and change what he can, it's just that simple. Sasuke's body instinctively resisted this sweet sensation, while Lin Yi endured nausea and swallowed heavily. In fact, Sasuke's childhood was not much better than Naruto's. Naruto had at least Lumaru and Dingji to accompany him, while Sasuke had nothing. Or, to put it another way, it was once taken away by someone, and to some extent, it was even more cruel than never. Perhaps the only difference between them is that he won't use the living expenses provided by the third generation to buy paint and doodle on Huoying rock. Of course, Lin Yi, who is already an adult, is not interested in imitating Conan's portrayal of the young detective team. He does not need such social interaction, and early exposure to Naruto may actually trigger a subtle butterfly effect, causing a deviation in the known future. In that case, his only golden finger would be gone. Sasuke picked up another string of Itachi's favorite tricolor meatballs, took one bite at a time, and quickly eliminated them all with just a few bites. Tears had been swirling in the eye sockets for some unknown reason. He thought of Itachi, a person who likes to eat sweets but has suffered for a lifetime. A dozen 7, this time, you won't be burdened with everything again. It was late at night, and there were only slight chewing and swallowing sounds left in the room. The room is very large, and Sasuke is very small. Chapter 4. Finger Dyeing Prohibition Technique. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the hour of Een, the library of the forbidden art of wood leaves. The ninja in charge of guarding stood there dumbfounded, watching Sasuke walk straight in. If you observe carefully, you will find that his eyes are empty and lifeless at this moment. In fact, he is immersed in Sasuke's specially designed gentle hometown, drunk and dreaming. If chakra originates from physical and mental strength, then after perfectly sharing this body with Sasuke, Lin Ye's mental, perceptual, and even chakra abilities have greatly improved. In just 1 month, he was able to control these eyes. Entering the house, there were thousands of ancient books, classics, and scrolls piled up here. Orochimaru had frequently visited this place before leaving Kiba, and Sasuke had to work hard to find it. However, unlike Orochimaru, he can easily defeat the goalkeeper Nakano with his Sharingan illusion technique, without causing any pain to the assassin. Moreover, with the blessing of the Sharingan, Sasuke is able to memorize the content on these scrolls with half the effort. He only needs to jot down a few ninjutsu techniques and precautions at once, go back and copy them, and then slowly learn them. In this way, there is no need to stay in the room for too long, minimizing the possibility of being discovered. It was only after arriving here that he understood why Orochimaru had the unethical idea of immortality. There were so many ninjutsu techniques here that even Sasuke, who had exceptional talent, could not learn them for 8 lifetimes. He first opened a book called The Complete Works of the First Generation of Zhujian, which recorded an introduction to the first generation of Hokage Mukun, as well as a series of human experiments conducted by the senior management of Kiba to reshape the Mukun ninja. Back then, many volunteers were injured and sacrificed as a result, and the third generation had to call off the experiment. However, Tanzo and Orochimaru refused to give up and joined forces to continue secret experiments until more and more ninjas went missing, which attracted the attention of 3 generations. The matter was exposed, and Orochimaru defected. Sasuke quietly closed the book. As a person of 2 generations, he was not very interested in transplanting inter-column cells. Although he was willing to respectfully call Snake Uncle, scientist, he did not want to follow in his footsteps. How many normal people are there in Huoying who can live forever? Which of them can be considered humans, such as Jiaodu, Faden, Orochimaru, or even Scorpion? He doesn't want to live like a monster in human skin. I casually spread out another scroll and drew a large snake with 8 heads on it. The snake's head was ferocious and its appearance was terrifying. I believe this is even a genius like Orochimaru who needs to learn an S-level forbidden spell for a month. The current amount of chakra in Sasuke is far from enough to support him in casting such a large scale ninjutsu. Moreover, the Susukninghu obtained by opening the kaleidoscope Sharingan in the future is only stronger than this spell, so there is no need to waste time on this spell. With these thoughts in mind, Sasuke returned this volume of 8 Chi technique to its original place. At this moment, his spare time caught a glimpse of a nearby book called The Mysteries of the Ultimate Secret Body Technique of the Wood Leaf. Sigh. Why, nowadays millennium killing can also be called forbidden art. With a curious attitude, Sasuke turned to the first page, which drew a diagram of the human body's muscles and veins, and marked it with, "Open the door, rest the door, live the door, hurt the door." I didn't expect this to be a serious book. Now Sasuke seems to be interested. After all, this is the technique that Kaihuan almost kicked to the end. The 8 Gates Duanjia. The called Prohibition of magic refers to the possibility of causing serious harm to the practitioner themselves, and the fact that the effect of the magic is too dangerous, even seriously violating ethical and moral principles. This art clearly belongs to the former. This is a technique that obtains temporary and powerful power by unlocking the channels that bind chakra within the human body, but of course, it can also have serious side effects after use. Kai's father, Maite Dai, once opened the 8th gate of death to cover the retreat of the Kaiban trio, and forcefully kicked the 7 ninjas into the 3 auspicious treasures. It can be seen that this technique is so terrifying. Sasuke flipped back a few more pages, which also recorded the corresponding body techniques, such as the wood leaf whirlwind, shadow dance leaf, lotus flower, and so on. His blood-red eyes lit up, and he quickly scrolled up and down between the pages of the book. These are quite in line with his current learning ability, but physical skills alone are definitely not enough. Sasuke, after roughly jotting down the method of opening the door, once again explored other options. This time, he discovered the original ninjutsu technique of the 3rd generation Hokage monkey flying sun slash, known as the hand sword shadow clone technique. Judging from the effectiveness of this technique, it falls far short of the standard to be classified as a forbidden technique. Sasuke pondered for a moment and suddenly realized. If this technique is unavoidable, wouldn't all the owners of Konoha's ninja shops have to drink the wind? Well, reasonable. Especially not to be seen every day. Sasuke immediately took note of the sealing method for this technique. Oh, this is. A scroll with a very gorgeous appearance caught Sasuke's attention, and from a technical perspective, it looked like some kind of sealing technique. Is it possible that this is a bug-level forbidden spell and a complete ban on corpses and ghosts? Now he's not tired anymore, he immediately started reading carefully. However, Sasuke was greatly disappointed after dedicating himself to research. This should be the seal of tongue disaster. In order to keep his subordinates strictly confidential, Tuanzai once cast such a curse on the root members. Gone. What are you doing with such a tall packaging of garbage? Make lousy by happy. Sasuke couldn't resist roast. But since I've read everything, let's copy it down. Just as he was stuffing the scroll back in, he accidentally bumped into another scroll. The appearance of this scroll is ordinary and somewhat rustic. Sasuke picked it up with ease, dusted the dust off it, and spread it out to take a look. But it was this one glance that plunged him deeply into it and made him unable to extricate himself. No mistake. This sealing technique belongs to the Vortex clan. At this moment, he sensed footsteps coming from the hallway outside the door. Oh no, it's already this point. Sasuke quickly put all the items back in place, retreated from the archives, and carefully resealed the seal on the door, disappearing in a few breaths. Yeah. After running a distance, he untied the illusion for the gatekeeper. Kishimoto, I'm here to change positions. Ah, sorry, I just took a nap. I'll be on duty in the latter half of the night. You go rest quickly. Sasuke passed by on different roofs and rushed towards home. This is already the first time he has successfully infiltrated without knowing how many times, and he is already familiar with the road, even knowing the time for job changes. After all, there is no golden finger, so he can only learn more forbidden techniques and rely on his body. He doesn't want to be manipulated by the greedy snake Maru. Today is really a fruitful day. Just as he was feeling proud, he suddenly felt a wave of pressure coming from behind, and his legs were as motionless as rooting under his feet. Cough cough. 2 elderly coughs came from behind. The cold sweat instantly wet Sasuke's back, and he tried his best, but only managed to turn his head back. I saw the person wearing a bamboo hat, dressed in a red and white robe. The face under the hat looked old-fashioned, and he was still holding a highly iconic pipe in his mouth. Behind me is the third-generation Hokage. Chapter 5. Sealed Book. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. I didn't expect to be so careful in my actions, but I was still discovered by the third generation. No wonder the guards of the Forbidden City are so lax. It turns out that everything is under the control of this old man. Sigh. Sandai took a deep breath of his pipe, let out a long sigh, and slowly walked towards Sasuke. Judging from your familiarity, it shouldn't be your first time here, right? Grandpa Huoying, I. At this moment, I'm sure I can't run away. Sasuke can only find a way to fool him. I have fully mastered all the ninjutsu taught in the ninja school, and no one in my family can teach me anymore, that's why. Sasuke deliberately brought up the old story. If the third generation really feels guilty about this, there may still be room for maneuver. If Uchiha Fuyue had not died, he would have taught Sasuke even more powerful fire escape ninjutsu. I have seen your grades at school, and you have always been the top student in all subjects. You are indeed a very talented child. At this point, the third generation paused, and a hint of darkness flashed in your eyes. So I don't want you to go astray and repeat that person's mistakes, Sasuke said, extending his dry palm as he instinctively closed his eyes. However, those hands did not do anything to him, just gently caressing his head. For some reason, a hint of warmth ignited in Sasuke's heart. This was the first time he had such a feeling since he came to this world. As for the person mentioned by the third generation, it's probably Orochimaru, Sasuke thought to himself. This matter is now written off, and I won't delve deeper. It's just that you're not allowed to come to this place again in the future. Sasuke lifted his head and looked at the weathered faces of the third generation. Then he nodded. Go ahead, Sandai waved his hand, indicating that he could leave. After Sasuke left, 3 generations stood still in place for a long time until 2 figures fell in front of him, one black and one white, wearing a hood and an animal mask. Lord Huoying, staying in this place for a long time can easily catch a cold. Returning home, Sasuke tossed and turned on the tatami mat. The monkey flying sun slash is a typical, pigeon faction, that can tolerate the misbehavior of Tuanzang and Orochimaru in the village, and even let Orochimaru run away. It is reasonable to let oneself go this time. As one of the characters whose reputation has declined the most in order to fulfill the plot, the later 3 generations of Kishimoto Old Thief are highly controversial. As the plot progresses, the towering images of a kind grandfather, a promoter and practitioner of the will of fire, that were initially established also collapsed, and the lives of 3 generations were also smeared with many stains, but many things can only be said through personal experience, and Sasuke is now experiencing all of this again. Although he can't go to the Forbidden Art Library anymore, the existing ninjutsu is enough for him to digest for a while. The courses at ninja school are still boring, with basic ninjutsu techniques like clone, stunt, and transformation, going back and forth. Sasuke then leads a life of attending classes during the day to catch up on sleep and secretly practicing forbidden techniques at night. Unlike Naruto and Lumaru, even though he often sleeps, Sasuke's grades are still impressive, so the school teachers are particularly tolerant of him, often turning a blind eye to him. As for Lumaru, it was purely because he felt that exams were too troublesome and lazy to write papers that he and Naruto became poor students together. During the break, Sasuke was lying on the table, snoring soundly, replenishing his exhausted chakra from last night. However, a loud noise disturbed his clear dream. White-eyed monster. Monsters and monsters, open one for us to see. Ha ha ha, those 3 guys who don't have long memory began to bully Hinata again, and they started laughing around her. The next second, Sasuke's arm draped over the necks of 2 of them from behind, and a terrifying face slowly turned. If I see any of you targeting Hinata again in the future, I'll twist their necks. Sasuke's voice was dark and deep. A killing intent filled the air, and the three guys were scared and ran out of the classroom in a hurry. Sasuke Jun. Hinata seemed to be scared by this evil energy and looked up timidly. However, Sasuke switched from a stern expression to a gentle mode and handed Hinata a pocket scroll with the word seal written on the outside. Oh, if anyone bullies you or encounters any danger in the future, just open this scroll. There is a teleportation technique written above, which is a type of teleportation technique. As long as you open the scroll, no matter where I am, I will appear in front of you. Seeing Hinata's silly and adorable expression, Sasuke explained again. At any time, it's okay. Hinata's eyes flashed with a hint of joy. Sasuke answered with extreme certainty, then instinctively reached out and nodded on her forehead. Pain and pain. Watching Hinata holding his bangs in both hands, Sasuke smiled faintly at the corner of his mouth. This technique was naturally learned from the Forbidden Art Room. In later Chinese ninja exams, the examiners split this technique into two and it only took effect and they gathered together the heaven and earth scrolls and opened them together. Really, women are really troublesome. Lumaru, who had seen all of this, glanced over and changed direction to continue sleeping. Ding Ci was grabbing this break for a few minutes, desperately stuffing potato chips into his mouth. A bag of potato chips quickly bottomed out, and suddenly he furrowed his brows as if he had made a big decision, struggling to take his hand out of the bag. Hello Naruto, do you want to eat potato chips? Ah, thank you very much. Naruto ran over happily and swallowed the last piece of potato chips. Time flies like a white horse, and 5 years pass by in a blink of an eye. Sasuke's graduation assessment will soon begin. Since the intimidation, those three little ghosts have never harassed Hinata again, and she has never opened that scroll. Ding Ci grew fatter and fatter as he ate, while Lumaru was still the troublesome teenager. Inoue still occasionally sent flowers to Sasuke, but he never confiscated them again. Shino's presence remained low, and Akamaru always liked to lie on Yaya's head. Sakura broke up with her due to Inoue's situation, and Naruto was still the crane tail. Everything seems to have remained unchanged. As for Sasuke, his 5 years of hard work have not only improved his chakra volume, but also greatly enhanced his ability to control his pupils. As for the advanced forbidden techniques that were plagiarized, not to mention fully understanding them, they can still be used in critical moments. The exam question for this session is Clone Technique, which is a piece of cake for Sasuke, who has already mastered shadow clones proficiently. The vast majority of them also graduated smoothly and obtained the coveted My Protector. Of course, there is one person who is an exception, and that is Naruto. His worst skill is the clone technique. After holding it for half a day, he can only distinguish a failed product lying on the ground with half-body failure. Sasuke has been paying close attention to Naruto since these days because he knows that he will steal the sealed book under the temptation of Mizuki. Many Hokage fans may have this question. How did Naruto, who couldn't bear it even at that time, steal the Book of Seals? This is mainly due to a detail overlooked in the anime, which is that Naruto actually stole it from the Hokage family of the third generation. This is explained in the comic. That's right, the sealed book is not kept in the Forbidden Art Library. Due to its high level of danger, it is directly stored in the Hokage family of all dynasties and under their supervision. After the death of the fourth generation, the sealed book was entrusted to the third generation for safekeeping. The titles of Professor of Ninjutsu and God of Ninjas alone were enough to deter countless little boys who had ideas about it. Naruto is not an ordinary person. It was a dark and stormy night, and a suspicious figure sneaked into the room of the third generation. Oh, you're here. Sasuke has been squatting on the roof opposite Hokage's house in advance, waiting for a long time. Naruto. Why do you come to my house late at night without sleeping? Naruto was rummaging on the shelf where the scrolls were stored, but he didn't want to be caught by the monkey flying Sunday. Oh no, look at me. The art of seduction. A burst of smoke suddenly rose, and in a hazy moment, Naruto transformed into a curvaceous, double ponytail shape. After 3 generations, nosebleeds spurted out and he lay on the ground, unable to rise again. After 3 generations of effortless downplay, Naruto carried a scroll on his back and flew away. Speaking of which, after losing such an important thing, the reason why the 3rd generation was able to calmly mobilize those ninjas to search was mainly because he still mastered a very troublesome technique. It's the big crystal ball placed on the Hokage table, called telescope technique. That is a type of ninjutsu that allows you to remotely peek at specific targets. You only need to master the chakra characteristics of the character to activate it. As long as Naruto is still in the Fire Kingdom, whether it's going up or down, he can't escape his magic. As an advanced ninjutsu with a difficulty level of A, fortunately he was not taught by Zillai, otherwise he would have been able to stay at home, learn from local materials, fight left and right, sage mode. In short, the consequences are unimaginable. And if Sasuke wants to pry into the content of the sealed book, he must first get rid of this troublesome thing. It is definitely not feasible to directly destroy the crystal ball, because it is only a medium for launching ninjutsu, and it is not a rare treasure in itself. Changing it to another one will have the same effect, and doing so will only arouse suspicion from the 3rd generation. But he had already figured out a way to crack it, otherwise he wouldn't have appeared here. Sasuke smiled knowingly and followed Naruto away. Chapter 6. Wind and Rain Shake Yuzhibo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Land of Fire, the Forest of Wood Leaves. Naruto was carrying a scroll that was over half a person high and shuttling through the forest, when suddenly he stood still on a thick branch. The scroll behind slowly slid down, and just as it was about to land, a figure flashed past and caught it with one hand. Then the person grabbed one end of the scroll and pulled it hard. The scroll, several meters long, was completely unfolded in the air. A pair of crimson writing will eyes stood out in the dark, reading the spells and techniques on the scroll at lightning speed. Sasuke must jot down the above technique in a very short amount of time, because Sandai is still watching from afar, and he also has to leave Naruto time to self-learn the multiple shadow clones. If the delay is too long, and by the time Iruka finds him, he hasn't learned a single one, it would be awkward. The first recorded technique on the scroll is indeed the multi-shadow clone technique invented by the 2nd generation Hokage, which later became a signature ninjutsu that Naruto must play in every battle. Of course, only those like him who are Chidunla don't have to worry about the danger that too many clones consume too much chakra to the caster. Sasuke took note of the general method of sealing, then turned his eyes and continued reading downwards. Good guy, I don't know if I don't look at it, I'm scared at first glance. Originally, this so-called Book of Seals is actually a collection of forbidden techniques in the Thousand-Handed Palace, which records all the non-water escape ninjutsu created by the 2nd generation. The second technique is the famous Flying Thunder God technique, originally created by the 2nd generation, which was promoted by the 4th generation Hokage Wave Wind and Water Gate in the 3rd Ninja World War, and was dubbed the Golden Flash of Wood Leaves by ninjas from other countries. The next step is the Art of Darkness, which will immerse the opponent's eyes in darkness after being cast, achieving the goal of blocking their vision. During the plan of the Woodleaf collapse, it was once used by the Dirty Earth clan, and even the 3rd generation of shadow-level powerhouses suffered from this ninjutsu, indicating that it is a quite advanced illusion spell. Looking further down, Sasuke saw what he was most interested in, the S-level extraterrestrial teleportation forbidden spell, Rebirth of the Dirty Earth. As long as a certain amount of body is extracted from the deceased, the soul of the deceased can be summoned back from the underworld and bound, regardless of whether he was a shadow-level strong person or a human pillar force during his lifetime, he will be driven. The only drawback is that a living sacrifice is needed as a container, and summoning souls is blasphemous against the deceased. Even among the pillars, there is no positive evaluation of this technique. But as Sasuke now, there is nothing more suitable as the ultimate life-saving measure than this technique. With the rebirth of the dirty earth already in place, there must also be a mutual riding explosive talisman born to complement this technique. This type of mass-destructive ninjutsu, if not a body of the dirty earth, is easily used and may explode along with oneself, so it is only natural for it to be sealed together. Now it seems that the ninjutsu that this guy Fei Jian has been diligently studying is all aimed at restraining the evil Uchiha. Uchiha is good at fire evasion and he practices water evasion. If the Sharingan can see through the clone technique, he will create a multi-shadow clone that is entirely physical. The Sharingan can see through actions and react in advance, so he creates the technique of Flying Thunder God, which is fast and unbreakable. The Sharingan possesses exceptional insight, and he has developed a dark art to deceive your eyes. No wonder when the first generation was alive, these were considered forbidden. Spells. Sasuke couldn't help but brainstorm the following scene. Fei Jian. Big brother, I have invented another technique. Between columns. What? Is it water escape? Fei Jian. No, it's not. Pillar. Then ban it. If things continue like this, I'm afraid it's not because the mother dog at the village entrance is pregnant, and even Fei Jian will suspect the evil Uchiha's head. Over time, the suppressed Uchiha clan also feel dissatisfied, and the Tuanzang, who inherited the legacy of the second generation, has exacerbated this conflict. When the Nine Tails attacked Kiba, he refused to let the Kiba security forces participate in the war because he did not trust Yuzhibo, which further intensified public anger. Later, taking advantage of the reconstruction of the village, Yuzhibo's planning was moved to even more remote corners with the intention of completely washing out the center of power, thus intensifying the conflict to the point where it had to erupt. Yuzhibo was exterminated, and it is not unjust to say so. Unfortunately, the Nine Tails attack on Mai was not planned by the Uchiha Mai security force. It is not a fault that it was indeed controlled by Uchiha people, but that person is called Uchiha Daitu. Alas, before I knew it, I remembered something sad again. Sasuke closed the scroll, unlocked the illusion, and disappeared into the forest. On the other side, Sandai knocked the crystal ball suspiciously and said, "Oh, Naruto has been standing still for 3 minutes." Just as he was about to take action, Naruto suddenly picked up the scroll and continued on his journey, seemingly not remembering that he had just stopped here. Next, Naruto hid near a wooden house in the forest, practicing the technique of multiple shadow clones. Another scene was when Mizuki appeared, with Iruka sacrificing himself to block the darts and 100 Naruto violently beating Mizuki. Iruka eventually recognized Naruto's image of giving him his shield. At this moment, Sasuke has already gone back. He wants to copy the forbidden techniques onto a blank scroll while he hasn't forgotten, and slowly ponder them in the future. He won't watch this cliché scene anymore. According to the words with soil, watching too much can easily lead to sand entering the eyes. Although he really wanted to get rid of the water and wood from the beginning, Naruto would not be able to grow, experience pain, or carry a bag of rice to several floors. 3 days later, Shueimu was found dead in the Muyi heavy punishment room, and the cause of death is unknown. There are not many pure villains in Hokage, and Mizuki is definitely one. Sasuke will not keep such a small character to add to his acting in the future. In this way, Naruto also successfully graduated and became a ninja, and can participate in the Ninja Explanation Conference with other small players. Early in the morning, Sakura and Ino, the plastic sisters' flowers, ran into each other on the way. In order to get angry, they raced to the school, stirring up bursts of smoke and dust along the way. Quickly, they argued over the seat next to Sasuke, and other girls rushed to grab it. They quickly blocked the aisle. Sasuke's gaze remained fixed on the front seat, on a passerby character with the same hairstyle as Lomaru's. This product is actually called Iris, and the flower language of Iris happens to be messenger of love. He keenly sensed a hint of danger. In an unknown corner, Hinata's gaze remained fixed on Sasuke. Damn it, why is everyone Sasuke long and Sasuke short? What's wrong with such a guy? Naruto jumped onto the table and squatted in front of Sasuke in great dissatisfaction, facing his 4 eyes and creating a spark. This was like poking a hornet's nest, and a group of girls were clamoring for Sasuke to kill him. The next second, the low-end deer Maru accidentally bumped into Naruto, causing him to kiss Sasuke like this. 3, however, this time Naruto kissed a fist the size of a sandbag. Hashtag 3, Sasuke quickly blocked the blow and saved his first kiss in front of everyone. You deserve Sasuke, so amazing, screams from Sakura and others quickly came to my ears. Damn Naruto, you dare to snatch Sasuke's first kiss from me. Then Sakura changed her tone and pointed her spear at Naruto, and the other fans quickly agreed. It has a murderous aura. In the classroom, there was a commotion of chickens and dogs, and in an instant, Naruto was beaten into a pig's head. Damn it, I didn't kiss again this time, why did I still get beaten? Naruto, who was slumped in his seat, sighed at the injustice of fate. Ah, why did I say this time? Watching Sakura sit down beside him, Sasuke thought to himself, I've already rejected her a few years ago, why are you still clinging to me? Just as he was pondering how to get rid of Sakura in the future, Iruka walked in. Congratulations on advancing to Nishin, but the real challenge is only starting now. In the future, you will form a group of 3 to follow Nishin's guidance teacher in carrying out tasks. Now we will announce the list of teams. Class 7, Naruto Vortex, Sakura Haruno. Great. Naruto instantly transformed from a frosted eggplant to a sunny sunflower, while Sakura wilted like a deflated ball. Also, Uchiha Sasuke. Great. The overflowing smile on Naruto's face instantly disappeared and shifted to Sakura's face. Sure enough, the smile won't disappear, it will only shift. It's different from Sasuke's class. Hinata in the corner sighed silently in her heart. Chapter 7, Class 7, Gather. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The meeting with Sharingan was arranged in the afternoon. Sasuke was leisurely leaning against the window and eating rice and vegetable roll. Naruto suddenly flipped through the window and unleashed multiple shadow clones in the narrow room. Although Sasuke stood up to resist, after all, his 2 fists were unbeatable with 4 hands. In no time, he was still tied up in various ways. Naruto, on the other hand, transformed into Sasuke and planned to go on a date with Sakura. What he didn't know was that after he left, that Sasuke he had worked so hard to tie up disappeared with a thud. Turns out that was just Sasuke's shadow clone. Sakura was sitting on a bench, daydreaming about what might happen if she were in the same class as Sasuke. Looking up, I found that Sasuke was standing in front of me, staring at me foolishly. Xiaoying, I love your sexy broad forehead the most. I can't help but want to kiss you. Xiaoying's face immediately turned red, not expecting her beautiful dream to come true so quickly. I hate it, that's why they grow so wide just to be kissed. The 2 sat closer and closer, and the atmosphere gradually became ambiguous. If Sasuke likes it, I can do anything. The lips of both sides are getting closer and closer, and they can even hear each other's heartbeat. Sasuke's body was secretly observing everything from the tree, just as he thought he could see some paid content, the ambiguous atmosphere suddenly came to an end. I saw Sasuke push Sakura aside and ask, Sakura, what do you think of Naruto? Xiaoying suddenly felt shy, but a ripple rippled in her heart. I didn't expect Sasuke to be so shy, even using Naruto to open the topic. Isn't he famous for his love for disrupting others' romantic relationships? He always takes pleasure in watching me worry about my gains and losses, and he doesn't even understand me. Don't worry about whether you make a name for yourself or not, that guy always goes his own way. If I do this, I will definitely be scolded by my parents. After all, he has never had parents since childhood and has never been nagged by them, which is why he has developed a stubborn personality. Little Sakura continued to speak a lot without realizing that Sasuke's gaze was gradually changing. Naruto felt extremely disappointed in his heart. Indeed, everyone looked at me that way. Even though I finally became Sasuke and approached Sakura, I was still the object of disgust. That kind of pain is not something that people like you can experience. Hey! After speaking, Sasuke left without looking back, leaving Sakura alone in the wind. Sasuke, who saw all of this in his eyes, couldn't help but cover his face with his hand. It's in vain for me to get up early and replace the expired milk at Naruto's house. Naruto, this idiot, has so many scenes. Just kiss him directly. Alas, giving you a chance is not worth it. Why did Sakura's words come earlier? Did this world secretly revise the content that deviated from the main line? Anyway, that's why Sasuke hates Sakura. Sasuke pondered, thinking that Sandai and Kakashi must have already arrived at Naruto's house by now, and found garbage all over the ground, Shao-chan crawling around, and a can of exceptionally fresh milk. At the beginning, he also considered hiding Fuyue's eyes in Naruto's house. After all, his house was in chaos, with used bitter tea seeds and finished instant noodles barrels everywhere. The old thief in Tuanzang must have never imagined that the power of the Uchiha clan, which he had been longing for so long, would be hidden in the garbage dump. But on second thought, Sandai, Kakashi, Sakura, and Kiba Maru had all been to Naruto's house before, and it was uncertain what they would find. For safety reasons, they decided to move to a more secure location. Sasuke yawned and decided to go back and catch up on his sleep first. Anyway, Kakashi will definitely be late this afternoon. At 5 p.m., in the classroom of ninja school. A sneaky head peeked out of the classroom and looked left and right in the hallway. Hey Naruto, be honest, Sakura said impatiently. Damn it, why is it that only the teacher in our class is coming so slowly, while the other classes are all following the teacher out for activities? Naruto jumped in a hurry, but the thought that Sasuke had not yet appeared and was probably still tied up made him feel a sense of relief. When you've had enough fun later, be merciful and let him out. Ha ha ha, I didn't know about this kind of thing, Sakura sighed, thinking to herself that it was not what just happened that made Sasuke angry, that's why he didn't come. Naruto suddenly moved a chair, stood on it, and stuck a blackboard eraser above the sliding door. Ah, Naruto. What are you doing? Sakura pretended and rebuked. He, who said he was going to be late? He deserves it. The work was completed, and Naruto patted the chalk ash on his hands. Really, I don't care about you anymore, Huoying said, but her heart was filled with ecstasy. At this moment, Sasuke, who had only recently woken up, flipped in through the window. He knew about Naruto's prank and naturally could not have been hit. But I also don't want to destroy Naruto's masterpiece, so I walked through the window. Ah! Sasuke, he's so handsome. I just like his unconventional appearance. Sakura's eyes were full of peach blossoms, and Sasuke had already taken her soul away. Wow, I actually untied it myself. Seeing Sakura's silly expression, Naruto was extremely unhappy. The next second, Kakashi pushed the door in and the blackboard eraser landed evenly on his distinctive silver long hair, igniting a wave of chalk dust. Ha ha ha. I was deceived, I was deceived. Naruto smiled back and forth. Yes. I'm sorry, teacher. I just stopped him, Naruto. He insisted on doing this. Although Sakura appeared apologetic on the surface, Sasuke knew that her second personality had already bloomed with joy. What should I say? My first impression of you is really annoying, Kakashi said without hesitation. Next, Kakashi led a team of 3 to the rooftop and began the classic self-introduction section. My name is Naruto Vortex. The thing I like is instant noodles, and the thing I like more is Yaluka's invitation to eat ramen noodles. What I hate is that I have to wait 3 minutes for instant noodles, and my interest is to compete with others to eat ramen noodles. Hearing this, Sasuke suddenly remembered that Naruto was reluctant to take out a bucket of platinum ramen noodles, but no one shared the joy, so he had to separate two figures to play cards with himself, and who ate the scene. Sasuke in the original work once mocked that only lonely people would use shadow clones. Naruto pushed his forehead and confidently continued, "My dream in the future is to surpass Hokage and become a recognized existence by the whole village." Well, it's a bit interesting. Okay, next one. My name is Haruno Sakura, and what I like is. What I like is. Sakura occasionally turned her head shyly to look at Sasuke. My interest is. My dream is. Speaking of this, Sakura screamed and buried her head. And then, what I hate is Naruto. Finally, I didn't forget to say, mending the knife, and the poor Naruto lay down with his gun again. For girls of this age, love is still more important than ninjutsu. Kakasadan felt helpless. That's the last one. Sasuke crossed his hands under his nose with a serious expression, revealing half of his cold and fair profile. My name is Uchiha Sasuke, and there are many things I dislike. My favorite thing is tricolor meatballs. And, rather than being a dream, it's more about ambition. I want to revive the Uchiha clan and protect Kiba. Sasuke's words shocked Naruto and Sakura greatly. Kakashi's heart sank as he said, "It's a bit surprising that the only remaining ghost of the Uchiha clan has let go of their hatred so quickly." Chapter 8. Bell Battle. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The next day, at 5 a.m. Naruto and Sakura arrived at the forest training ground dragging their tired bodies. Kakashi said he wanted to lead everyone in survival exercises and deliberately instructed them not to eat breakfast to avoid vomiting. As a result, the two of them waited for several hours in a row. Not only did Kakashi delay coming, but also Sasuke was nowhere to be seen. Around 11 o'clock, Sasuke finally appeared. He is very familiar with Kakashi's urinary habits. It's better to come early than to come late. After all, he will be late for every task in the future. It's really sorry for not sleeping until dawn. Speaking of which, Kakashi, who used to strictly restrain himself with ninja rules, is very punctual. On the contrary, his teammate, Daitu, often arrives late and finds various seemingly fake reasons. Kakashi inherited this bad habit because he was caught in self-blame for not protecting his companions well, coupled with nostalgia for his friends. However, Daitu was only late for helping the old lady cross the road, and Kakashi was unaware of it. Perhaps he was peeking at Little Yellow Book. When Sasuke arrived, Sakura and Naruto were already sitting back to back on the ground like withered radishes, with occasional growls coming from their stomachs. 2 minutes later, Kakashi arrived late and said, "Oh, everyone, good morning, what's so early, it's already noon." Naruto and Sakura roared in unison. "Sorry, I got lost on the road of life." After speaking, he took out an alarm clock and set it at 12 o'clock, speaking seriously. "Let's conduct a survival exercise below. You need to grab the bell in my hand before 12 o'clock. The loser doesn't have lunch and has to be tied to the pillar over there." The two bells in Kakashi's hand made a jingling sound, as if reminding them that at least one person would not get lunch. The timer started. Sasuke and Sakura each hid their bodies, with only Naruto standing in place. "Hehe, let's have a fair and decisive battle," I said. "Are you having some brain problems?" Kakashi said, reaching out to his waist. Naruto immediately became alert at the sight. However, he pulled out not Gouyu, but also Ziraya's best-selling masterpiece, Love Heaven. Sasuke was also very curious about what was written in that book, so he secretly made up his mind to find an opportunity to sneak a peek when the fight broke out later. "Stop looking down on people," Naruto shouted and rushed straight over. After running up, he leapt up and made an elbow strike, which Kakashi casually took over. Then, he made another roundabout kick, which was still easily dodged. He didn't give up and punched again, but Kakashi had already disappeared. "Ah, ha. Ninjas cannot reveal their backs to enemies, idiot. Kakashi was seen with a tiger mark on his hands, appearing behind Naruto at some point. That gesture is. I shouldn't say it's too much to use ninjutsu on a crane like Naruto. Sakura shouted to Naruto to dodge, otherwise she would be dead. There it is. Sasuke remained motionless and watched with a playful attitude. It's too late. The secret body technique of Muyi. 1000-year killing. Naruto suddenly lost his rear door and was stabbed flying out, creating an elegant parabolic path that fell into the river. Even Sasuke felt a tightness behind him. Huoying blushed and said, "What?" Just as Kakashi had finished dealing with Naruto and was about to continue reading, several swords in his hands came one after another. While he was turning over and dodging, Sasuke had already bullied him and stepped forward. Subsequently, there was a dazzling exchange of physical skills, and after 5 years of accumulation, Sasuke's basic skills had become very solid. For a while, he even had a chance to play back and forth with Kakashi, who was not serious enough. Sakura. This assessment is actually a test of our team's combat ability. I am responsible for restraining him head-on, while you look for opportunities to launch a surprise attack. Sasuke suddenly shouted into the air. Hiding in the dark, Sakura suddenly understood and took out a few painless ones, always ready. Both sides engaged in another round of hand-to-hand combat, and seeing that it was difficult to determine the winner using physical techniques, Sasuke quickly formed a seal with both hands. That seal is. With his endurance of chakra, it is impossible to launch such ninjutsu. Kakashi saw that it was a seal of fire escape, and in a moment of doubt, the flame rushed towards him. Fire escape. The art of Heihō-Wokyu. In Carcasillo's stunned expression, an immensely large fireball was already in front of him. He immediately flipped over to dodge, but Sasuke did not intend to easily let him go. He turned his head and controlled the flames to continue spitting horizontally. This chakra is no longer within the range of tolerance. To Kakashi's surprise, Sasuke not only released him, but also chased him with a fire escape, until he repeatedly turned over to dodge, but was still slightly blackened by the flames at the corners of his clothes. Right now. Before he could stand firm, Sakura quickly threw the sword in her hand. The next second, Kakashi was hit by a dart in the back, blood splattered 5 steps, and fell to the ground on the spot. Ah! Sasuke, what should I do? I accidentally killed Teacher Kakashi. Sakura's face suddenly changed. Fool, how could this level possibly kill an elite Sharingan? Sasuke thought to himself, but Yu Guang had already caught a glimpse of himself. Next second, extend a hand from underground. 2 done. The technique of beheading in the heart. A burst of smoke and dust dissipated, and Sasuke's whole body was buried in the soil, leaving only one head outside to breathe. Kakashi stood leisurely on the side reading a book. Looking back, his body had already turned into a wooden stake. Using stunt doubles to create the illusion of being killed, and then lurking underground to launch ninjutsu, is truly Teacher Kakashi, but... As he spoke, Sasuke, who was buried in the soil, also turned into a wooden stake with a thud. And the real Sasuke appeared from behind Kakashi, hugging him and sticking to his ear with a magnetic and seductive voice, saying, "Teacher Kakashi, let me tell you, the grand finale of the intimate paradise is..." Seeing this, Kakashi felt like a formidable enemy and quickly covered his ears. Don't listen, you bastard reciting scriptures." However, Sasuke did not continue speaking, but took a step back to widen the distance and shook the 2 bells in his hand. Ding-ling, the bells collided and made a pleasant sound in the air. It's really lucky to grab the bell without exposing too much strength. Not only that, but he also stole a glimpse of a passage from Love Heaven, which reads as follows. When I look at you, a heat wave hits, your face turns red and shy, and while my mouth is still talking about all of this, it's blocked by you. It's truly something written by a lecherous fairy, with a taste that makes Sasuke want to buy a copy and take a look. Well done. Sasuke, Sakura screamed excitedly. Kakashi stood in place and scratched his head, well, although it surprised me a bit. It seems like I'm starting to like you guys a bit. There was a bubbling sound coming from the water, and Naruto finally climbed ashore from the river. As one can imagine, Sasuke and Sakura were eating bento, while Naruto was tied to a wooden stake by a person. A guy who only knows how to run amok alone and lacks teamwork spirit, don't have lunch. And you too, if anyone eats Naruto, it will be judged as unqualified on the spot. After speaking, Kakashi disappeared from everyone's sight. Naruto is not only soaked all over now, but can only watch them eat, not to mention how aggrieved they are. That's okay, even if I don't eat, he said arrogantly, but the gurgling sound came from his stomach. Sasuke glanced at the drowning Naruto and handed him his lunchbox. Here, let's eat, he said. Wait, Sasuke. This will get you out. Sakura said tightly. Isn't he leaving now? As long as we move faster, we shouldn't be caught. Sasuke had long known that Kakashi hadn't gone far, and this was just a test of the unity of the three. The reason why none of the students in the class he had previously taught were qualified was because they strictly followed his instructions and did not feed their bound companions, which led to their collective elimination. Although in the world of ninjas, those who violate the rules are called scumbags, those who do not cherish their companions are not even scumbags. Sasuke couldn't help but think of what Dato had said to Kakashi, and it was precisely this sentence that changed him. Naruto was moved to tears at this moment and said, no wonder Sasuke is being liked by girls. It turns out that he is a man who appears cold on the surface but is so gentle in his heart. Hey, stop crying. Tears are all dripping into the rice. What moved you, you idiot? Why do you think I came so late? Of course, I was already full before leaving. Sasuke glanced at him. Naruto's tears suddenly came to an end, and the touching atmosphere he had finally created was swept away. Ah! Damn Sasuke, how cunning he is! Naruto kept struggling, venting his dissatisfaction. It's true that Sasuke can see through the teacher's intentions. Sakura awkwardly tried to make a comeback beside her, but her inner villain was close to rampaging and waving his fist at Sasuke. Sasuke, it's true that he didn't tell me in advance even though he had already noticed it. In order to lose weight, I didn't even eat yesterday's dinner. That, Naruto. Sakura also handed her lunch box to Naruto. I've been losing weight lately, and I've been eating less than Sasuke's. You eat quickly. I want to eat, but look. Naruto Wei Chu Baba said. Xiaoying followed his gaze and saw her tightly bound hands, her eyes immediately widened in a circle. Sasuke realized that this might be a good opportunity to get rid of Sakura and quickly urged, Sakura, hurry up and feed him. I don't know when that guy will come back. At this point, Sakura reluctantly picked up a ball of rice and handed it to Naruto's mouth. Suddenly, a burst of smoke exploded, and Kakashi appeared in front of everyone with a fierce expression on his face. His hands quickly formed a seal, and the world suddenly changed. You guys have violated the rules, I believe you have already become well aware. Is there anything else you want to say? That's because. Because. Naruto stuttered and couldn't speak. Because our three-person team is a whole, Sasuke said positively. Yes, the three of us are one. Sakura also agreed. 3 people in one. Kakashi suddenly walked up to everyone and bent down to look down. Congratulations, you are qualified. Chapter 9. Ghost Brothers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The tasks of ninjas are not as glamorous as imagined, especially for newcomers who have just graduated and are willing to endure. Sasuke followed the 7th class, either helping the fat lady of Daimyo catch the cat, or helping the medicinal farmer at the foot of the mountain clear the weeds in the field, or carrying a basket to clean up the garbage on the river. Naruto quickly protested against this boring life and started throwing tantrums in the Hokage office. Unable to resist him, the third generation assigned a C-level task to the 7th class. Finally arrived. Lin Yi, inheriting Sasuke's personality, although appearing aloof on the surface, still felt a ripple inside. After all, this is the first C-level task, and he knows the series of twists and turns that will occur after this task. Based on his assessment of his own strength, it is conservatively estimated that he can at least wrestle with the special members of the village without using forbidden techniques. But after all, actual combat is the only way to test strength, and staying in the village behind closed doors is definitely not advisable. What, aren't these all little ghosts? A bearded uncle pushed the door in, full of alcohol and stumbling as he walked. Especially the shortest one, is it really a ninja? As he spoke, he picked up the bottle and drank it, ton, without hesitation. He is the target character to be escorted in this mission, the bridge-building master Danas. The shortest person, who is it? Naruto chuckled foolishly without realizing it, until Sakura and Sasuke placed stickers next to him, telling him to recognize reality. Damn it, don't look down on people. Stinky uncle, I'm going to kill you. It wasn't Kakashi who stopped him, Naruto had already rushed over to give him a big fight. For ninjas, judging people by their appearance can be a disadvantage, Sasuke argued logically. If you can judge a person's strength based on their height, then Inoki will have to climb out of the soil to give you a dust escape. Well, then you must put in your life to protect me during the time I'm building the bridge, the uncle snorted disapprovingly. A few people quickly packed their bags and left my village. The target location is in the Land of Waves, directly south of the Land of Fire, and is a small island country. Naruto was very excited, after all, this was his first time stepping out of the novice village at such a young age. But Sasuke stood at the door, stunned for a while, until Sakura called him. Sasuke, what's wrong? No, it's nothing, Sasuke withdrew his gaze and quickly followed suit. He sensed two ominous auras, getting very close, and the chakra was mixed with waves of killing intent. So I was being targeted as soon as I left. Everyone walked along the forest path, with bright sunshine outside and the weather not just raining. However, a small puddle of water suddenly appeared on the dirt road. Sasuke knew it was the trick of the mist ninja killer, so he deliberately stepped on it as he passed by. Water splashed high and wet Naruto's pants legs. Hey! Sasuke! You're intentional, right? Naruto rolled his eyes and cursed. Well, who knows? Sasuke spread out his hand and pretended to have an unintentional expression, which made Naruto even more angry. He noticed that although it was brief, Kakashi also glanced at the pool of water. Everyone quickly passed by the puddle of water, but the two assassins appeared ghostly from the water. They were the ghost brothers of Wuren, Mingtu, and Yeto. The two of them cooperated very well, sneaking from behind, sandwiched left and right, and quickly used chains to wrap around Kakashi. Then, with a gentle pull, Kakashi split into pieces and shattered into pieces. Ah! Sakura screamed. After strangling one, they set their sights on Naruto and Danazu, and as expected, professional assassins were the ones who didn't speak much. Sasuke, however, saw all their intentions and immediately grabbed the chain. Chakra converged towards his arm and pulled hard, causing the two to collide fiercely under the immense pulling force. The two brothers were knocked into a mess by this, got up, looked at each other, immediately disconnected the chain, and attacked Sasuke left and right. A ghost claw pounced on Sasuke's face, but was easily dodged by him by taking a half step back. Taking advantage of the situation, it flew and kicked, landing firmly on the side face of Mingtu. The huge impact caused his face to contort extremely, and he flew out about 10 meters, making his art style more abstract. He could imagine the scene of pain being beaten on his own Taking advantage of this gap, the head of the business was already in front of him. The sharp iron claws were pulled towards Sasuke's heart, but he blocked them with his painless backhand. This little devil is very extraordinary. The head of the industry suddenly broke out in a cold sweat, and years of work experience told him that he had encountered a tough problem this time. He had already exerted all his strength to press down, but Sasuke held on to him in a stalemate, with a relaxed and contented expression on his face. The next second, Yi too was locked in his throat with Sasuke's idle hand and dragged towards the big tree by the roadside. With a muffled bang, the tree trunk slowly cracked open and a mouthful of blood coughed out from the head. Ming too stood up again and saw his brother being severely injured, so he went even crazier to kill Sasuke. "Sasuke, be careful," Sakura reminded. "Go to hell." At the critical moment, Sasuke did not let go, but instead lifted his right leg high and waited until his head rushed towards him. Seizing the opportunity, he made a vertical slash and stepped on him. The powerful force immediately stirred up waves of smoke and dust. By the time the smoke dissipated, Mingtu's back of the head was hit hard and he had already passed out. In just 3 rounds, Sasuke easily subdued these two people. After all, they are only at a moderate tolerance level. Standing on the wall of my village, throwing a brick down can smash 7 or 8. Sasuke, so powerful. Naruto stood still, and within a few seconds of his daze, the battle had already ended. In addition to being shocked, his heart was also filled with humiliation and unwillingness, as he had not been able to do anything. Huoying was also stunned. He knew Sasuke was both handsome and strong, but he didn't expect him to be so handsome and strong. However, with her clever mind, she quickly realized, so Sasuke deliberately stepped on that puddle of water just now to remind Naruto. As a result, that foolish Naruto not only didn't notice, but also lost his temper foolishly. In such a comparison, Sasuke was simply handsome. "Ah, it seems there's no chance for me to take action." Kakashi calmly appeared, while the body just now was just a few wooden stakes. A smile faded from the corner of Sasuke's mouth, but fortunately, this time he was quick and didn't let Kakashi steal the limelight. "Teacher Kakashi, you're still alive," Sakura exclaimed happily. Danaz also breathed a long sigh of relief. It seems that they have been saved. It seems that they are not just talking big. "Well done, Sasuke. You're even more impressive than I imagined. But Mr. Darnaz, I have something to ask you." Seeing Kakashi looking at him seriously, Darnaz's expression instantly became tense. "Our commission is to protect you from threats from armed organizations such as thieves and gangs. The current situation of ninja warfare is already a B. level or higher mission. You seem to have some unspoken secrets, but false commissions can also give us a headache," Kakashi said seriously when he saw Darnaz's shy face. "I had no choice but to make this decision. In fact, my life has already been targeted by a gang leader named Kado." Darnaz lowered his head and stuttered as he couldn't hide it. Sasuke is not interested in listening to him tell the cliché story again, and then relying on his old age to sell off his old age and engage in moral kidnapping. Both ears automatically filter out the following content. After all, it's been 2 weeks now, and he only wants to fast forward to the Ghost Man of Fog Hidden dungeon. After the performance of Danaz's bitter drama, Kakashi indeed decided to continue his mission. After all, he helped people to the end and sent the Buddha to the west. Terminating the mission now would undoubtedly lead to his death. After rushing all the way, everyone finally boarded a small raft and entered the territory of the Land of Waves. At this moment, the sea is shrouded in mist and the visibility is less than 5 meters, giving people a sense of ominei. After passing through the bridge and officially entering the village, the scene before us suddenly became clear again. The dense fog dissipated, and the houses built along the coast were arranged in rows, making it like another village with hidden willows and bright flowers. However, the danger is not over because there is still some distance left from the Danatsi family. As they were moving forward, Kakashi suddenly let out a loud shout. Everyone, get down quickly. Upon hearing this, everyone quickly fell down. In the next second, a large decapitation sword swept from low altitude, flying over Dane's scalp, and finally embedded itself in a big tree. A figure flickered and approached, standing on the hilt of a knife with its back facing the crowd. This guy just won't be killed again, Sasuke thought to himself. Chapter 10. The Vague Ghost Man. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Undoubtedly, if the ghost person doesn't kill again, the way they appear is truly oppressive. However, having one forcing the king is enough, there is no need for a second one. The main show is just about to take place. If Wu Yin's rebellious peach ground is not cut off again, it will be a bit difficult for him to face now. After that, Kakashi stopped Naruto, who was about to go up and show off. His expression became stern. Those who are sensible should hand over the uncle over there, Kakashi. Without turning his head, he said coldly, after all, you are no longer the copy ninja Kakashi. Hey, you guys, form a swastika formation. This battle is not something you can participate in. This was the first time everyone had seen such a serious Kakashi, and the 7th squad quickly formed their formation. Sasuke couldn't help but mutter to himself, isn't it a copy of the ninja Kakashi? What does that mean? I don't have time to talk nonsense to you guys. I need to get rid of that old man quickly. I saw him jump up high and land on the water surface. Ninja technique. Mist hidden technique. As he poured a large amount of chakra into the water, a thick mist quickly formed around him, and within a few breaths, it became a white expanse, with his fingers out of sight. This is an assassination technique called silent killing technique, which can identify the position of a target in thick fog and then appear behind you unconsciously. There is a special ninja named Yuzhibo, the guy in the anime that Kakashi remembers wearing a mask and looks very similar to Kakashi, who went to the Water Kingdom for espionage activities in the early years and died in this move. Oh. You know very well, but what can happen then? The sound of not chopping echoed in the thick mist of the air, and the next second, his figure had already appeared in the center of the swastika formation. Naruto Sakura suddenly froze in place, shaking her painless hand. Shit. This is the oppressive feeling of the upper ninja. Sasuke forced himself to move, and with his backhand, he stabbed Gouyu towards the other few who didn't cut him off. The others immediately dispersed and distanced themselves. However, what flowed out of the stabbed body was not blood, but a trickle. Quickly dodge, that's a water clone. Kakashi reminded. It's already too late. The clone that didn't cut off anymore melted like water, and the body had silently appeared behind Sasuke. I saw him wielding his decapitation sword and cutting towards his waist, and Sasuke was split in half as he swung his sword. However, Sasuke's body turned into 2 wooden stakes. If you don't chop your tongue again, shit, stunt doubles, that's a boring little trick. Your opponent is me. Kakashi took out Gouyu Chao and continued to plunder, while the latter resisted with a large sword. The two sides quickly formed a battle, their figures faintly visible in the mist, and only sparks of swords and knives could be seen intersecting. Sasuke's true body retreated to the side and observed, Kakashi clearly doesn't have an advantage in physical combat. Why doesn't he activate the Sharingan? Is that so? A bad feeling arose in Sasuke's heart. Just as he was pondering, with a crisp sound of weapon collisions, Kakashi's Gouyu in his hand was shaken away. Without chopping the backhand and holding the knife, a teasing blow sliced towards Kakashi's head, but he couldn't dodge and could only press his forehead down to block the blow with his forehead protector. With another bang, Kakashi's forehead was knocked out, but what was hidden beneath his forehead was only a hollow eye socket, teacher Kakashi. Naruto and Sakura couldn't help but sweat for Kakashi. How could it be? Kakashi's riding will eye is gone. Now Sasuke was also confused. It wasn't that he didn't want to use it, but that he couldn't use it at all. Without that eye, you're just like that. Without chopping, he didn't give him any chance to catch his breath. He swung his big sword and quickly stepped forward, continuing to chop. This kind of open and close move may seem fierce, but it is easy to dodge. Kakashi kept jumping back and dodged his attacks with great agility, but his body was unconsciously pushed to the shore. Suddenly, a pair of hands emerged from the water behind him, grabbing Kakashi's feet tightly. When he was just standing on the water to release his spell, he also hit a water clone underwater. Kakashi glanced at the hands behind him and then looked at those who were rushing towards him and didn't chop again. At a critical moment, Kakashi's hands quickly imprinted, as if the essence of the thunder attribute chakra was gathering in the palm of his hand, emitting a dazzling light. With the convergence of this technique, the surroundings were accompanied by sharp bird songs. Richi. After squatting down, Kakashi cut off the hands that had grabbed his hind feet with a thunderbolt, then jumped high to avoid the fatal blow, and cut his back at the center of his eyebrows that he never cut again. If you don't chop it again, immediately block it with a horizontal knife and collide with the palm thunder, making a constant, sizzling sound. The high-intensity current continuously washes against the beheading knife, and the lightning not only cuts off the powerful penetrating force, but also has a certain numbing effect. After a period of stalemate, there was a faint sense of being suppressed if not executed. How impressive! Just take care of him in one breath, Teacher Kakashi. Seeing Kakashi gaining the upper hand, Naruto cheered and breathed a sigh of relief. As soon as the words fell, the water clone, which had been cut off by Kakashi and its body melted, was reshaped again, and even began to imprint with the hands that had grown out of thin air. Oh no! Kakashi's heart tightened as she was about to withdraw, only to find that it was already too late. Water escape. Water prison technique. Kakashi was instantly wrapped in a circular water ball, and the only one who activated ninjutsu was a clone. Humph, that's not an ordinary water clone. Generally speaking, water clones only have 10% of the body's power, but I injected 30% of the chakra into that clone. I originally wanted to pull and dodge, but now it seems like it was a mistake to come to the water's edge. Kakashi couldn't help but feel a little regretful. I see, it's quite an advanced clone. Sasuke originally wanted to assist Kakashi in quickly brushing the Wave Country dungeon, but now it's good that Kakashi not only didn't write a wheel eye, but also had to be imprisoned. More importantly, it is not the body that maintains the water prison now, but the clone that is not cut off again. The difficulty level of the dungeon instantly skyrocketed several levels. Isn't that even worse than what was in the original? Alright, we'll resolve our grudges later. Let me deal with these noisy ants first. Without cutting, I slowly turned around with a murderous expression in my eyes. That is a gaze without any confusion or compassion.